afternoon. I hereby call this agenda review meeting of Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum is present and notice of this meeting was posted as required by Texas Open Meeting Act. Board members, Reverend James Irvin, Mr. James Montoya, and Reverend Callie Pitcock are unable to attend today. Today, all items on the agenda are for discussion only. No voting will take place at this meeting. Thank you for joining us and ask to please turn your cell phone to the silent mode. At this time, we're in a public comments section, and we do not receive any requests to address the board. However, if anyone is interested to address the board in the future meeting, the instructions of how to sign up for the meeting is on the agenda posted meetings. Now, we're in a section, consent agenda. This portion of meeting, we will discuss items for the consent agenda. No action will be taken on these items. We start with the board meeting minutes from August. Board members, any comments, any questions? Okay. Now, business office report, presenter Ms. Lisa Barbrick.
Good afternoon, President Nirman, board members, Dr. Trujillo. So I'd like to begin with our budget amendments, and they start on page 18. The first item is pool funds from fund balance to pay for increases in salaries and one new position for a total of $87,431. Item B, budget donations received for convocation, and we received $7,000, and that's for the revenue, and the expense side is convocation expenses. Item C, budget funds received from insurance for Chromebook damages, and this just puts it into our revenue as well as the account where we make replacements for whatever is damaged from our Chromebooks. Item D, pull funds from fund balance and transfer from general administration and transportation to pay for increase in property and casualty insurance. We had a big increase in our property insurance this year. So we are increasing it by $266,569, taking it from function 41, 28,872, from 34, 43,887, and the remainder from fund balance, 193,810. Item E, pull funds from fund balance for ongoing projects crossing years. I believe this will be the last time I need to take these ongoing projects, but you never know. But we're pulling a total of, for the McMichael track renovation, $388,000. The TJR fire alarm replacement, $126,524. The Dragon Stadium turf field replacement, $1,447,610. Plant services parking lot paving, $32,000. Band hall restoration from the flood, $77,556. Fiber installation, $166,166, for a total of $2,237,856.
Ms. Barbrick,
Yes.
the Dragon Stadium turf field, should we put the track as well, resurfacing track? So,
Yes.
okay.
I believe it's all in one project.
Yes, I'm making sure the public knows this, not specifically one item that we spend the money on.
I wanted to comment on that. I walked that track, and it was so uneven, it was dangerous for me to walk over the how it's unstable and how had it shifted. And it wasn't one place, so it was many places. So Now, we had a non-functional track, but with the insurance going up, we had a huge liability there, so we fixed that liability at that track, and now it's useful for our students and the public. So that was a good investment of our funds when we had the people here that could do it, and they did it at reasonable cost.
President Fashid and Board, this is so matter of record, and Mr. Williams can speak to this as well. The track had some areas in it that, because of, we have done some repair in the past, and because of the repairs that we've done in the past, we this time had to go in there and do some serious digging. Mr. Martin, do you know the details? I think it was maybe the west side of the track?
Yes, sir.
That we had to go a little further than just the base of the track in order to go down there and repair. Do you know the specifics with that? But I know that we did have that. Now, the track at the high school was not in that much disrepair. However, the track over at McMichael had some, I know of two key portions when Mr. Martin and we walked it over, and Ralph also walked it. So just to be aware, it wasn't just a simple resurfacing. They had to go in there and actually address some leveling issues, sinking of the foundation.
All right, moving on to item F. Various campuses and departments were requesting transfers within their own budgets. Increasing function 12, 13, 23, 36, 52, and 61. And decreasing 11, 21, and 41. And these are all between their own budgets at their request. Item G, pull funds from fund balance to purchase band lockers for instrument storage. This purchase was approved by the board in July of 2023, so we're increasing function 11 by $50,347 and decreasing our fund balance by $50,347. And item H, amend debt service budget due to increase in revenues and increase in debt payment. We will be bringing you further items that will address this, but we're increasing revenue by $1.7 million and the expense by $2.4 million. Any other questions on budget amendments? All right, next I'd like to move to our donations under $2,500. We'll find that list on page 26. The high school received lanyards from Stephen F. Austin University in Advancement. The district received several items for convocation, and the donors included Excel-ER, Cadence Bank, the Burke Center, Conterra, Axley and Rohde, ATPE, Southside Bank, Cat's Corner Boutique, Stonehouse Kitchen, House of Traditions, June August Boutique, Merle Norman, the SFA Alumni Association, Beautiful U Spa, Rhinestone and Rifles Boutique. Carpenter also received backpacks and school supplies from Shirley Carter Sisterhood NHS Class of 1977 and the Junior Forum. And the business office received a lunch tray from Citizens First Bank. All items are greatly appreciated. Next, I'd like to move on to investments. And you can find that on page 28. This month, we earned $204,456.56.
Good job.
Thank you. And if you have any other questions on the business office reports, I'll take them now.
purchase of it. I have to clear this.
Checks.
Are we done? Okay. Did we say purchase over 25,000?
That's what we're to right now. That's where we are now.
Okay. So you want to,
That would be Dr.
Welsh. and-
Welch and Dr. Hill.
okay. So it's not on my agenda.
Good afternoon, President Nuriman, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Trujillo. So the first one is the House Bill 3 requirement of teachers K through 3, as well as the administrators attending the State Reading Academy, beginning in 2021 school year. And so far, we have had all the teachers complete that were here during that time, as well as the administrators. We are asking for 50 more seats. The state has moved to a comprehensive model, meaning that teachers have to have 10 days of a face-to-face training, and it's $3,000 per teacher now for our teachers to complete it. And this is a state requirement that K through 3 teachers complete. So the board, we are seeking board approval for the purchase of 50 seats for the comprehensive model of the TEA Required Reading Academy for the cost of $150,000 from ESSER 3 funds.
Okay.
I have a question on that. So ESSER funds will be terminated, correct, eventually?
This is last year,
At
yes.
the end of this
At the
So
end of this year.
This is mandated by the state to pay this money, and so we're spending a lot of money on, the training is really important, but is there any provision from the state that will help us pay for this in the future, or we're going to be, it's a mandated with no pay, and when we don't use ESSER funds, we'll have to come up with that in the budget, right? And what would be the estimated cost for next year when we don't have ESSER funds?
I guess it depends
That's a
on
great
how-
question.
Depends on how many
That
new
is a great
teachers,
question.
yeah.
In K through 3.
How many new
yes.
teachers have to be trained?
And whether or not the model
Are we
continues.
looking at $500,000?
We have no idea.
$250,000?
Well, how many,
how
no,
many-
that'd be a
how much did you
lot
say it
of
was per
teachers.
seat?
Excuse me?
How much did you say it was per seat?
3,000.
3,000 per seat.
Yeah.
And-
This was for
So-
50 seats.
What?
Yeah.
This is for 50 seats.
Right, but
So
I'm talking
that would
about
mean-
next year, we have to pay for, we already did, this is just for 50. We
No,
have to pay.
this is to catch us up.
Yes.
These are the new ones that
Right.
haven't, so it would
But
be,
we don't have to do this every year.
Oh, yes, yes, we do.
well, we have to make sure they've all been certified. They don't
Yeah.
have to be recertified.
I only have to-
All new teachers that are hired here.
Oh, it's just new teachers, not all teachers.
No.
This is a
Yeah,
one-time
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to find out. It's a one-time thing, but when all new teachers come in, that's doable. I was worried about our budget.
Sure.
Yeah, once they're trained, they're trained.
Your mind travels fast.
Until they come up with a new training. Shouldn't have said that.
Okay.
Ideally, it would be something that we might be able to visit with our, the Infinite Wisdom beyond the boundaries of Nacogdoches. To, as we graduate individual students from the university settings, that they have this as part of their
Yes.
endorsement, to have the Reading Academy training, and some of the things that are there. But to your point, this is going to be a cost to the district every year. And just a side note, they are developing the math component. And so the Get Math component comes in to play possibly in the future, so. And these are, in the realm of public education, this is known as unfunded mandates. So,
Yeah.
Any question, any more comment? Okay, Ms. Lisa, Reliable Chevrolet.
Good afternoon again. So this is an amendment only. We aren't asking for a purchase of a new vehicle. We're not requesting any extra money. Just in November of '22, we brought a purchase of 2 police vehicles, and we stated that we were using Region 7 Co-op for the pricing, and that was incorrect. the co-op was actually Sheriff's Association of Texas. And so that is, all this is that we are changing the co-op that, correcting the co-op that we used for these vehicles.
Okay. Those vehicles come totally equipped for the use?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And we've used Reliable Chevrolet before, haven't we? We
Oh,
can't get
yes.
it locally, so we have to go somewhere else.
No, we can sometimes
get
get
some
it
of them, but
locally.
not this one.
But sometimes, we have to go where we find what suits our situation the best.
Well, we don't want them to walk to an emergency.
And just a side note, President Neerman and Board, we do have one of the vehicles has arrived. So if you want to take a look at one of those, it's nice. It's a nice squad vehicle. And it, right now, it's just a black police vehicle until it has the Nacogdoches logo and wrap, and it's, I believe, in front of McMichael. It's actually
Correct.
assigned to the officer at McMichael. So inclined to take a look at the new squad car, that's where it's parked at right now, so.
Okay. Next, we are in submission of a professional development waivers to TEA for 2023-2024. Mr. Marvin Tarvin?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, President Neerman, board members, Dr. Trujillo. Last year, the District of Innovation Calendar Committee put together a calendar for this school year, which was approved by you all earlier. With that calendar, the District of Improvement Calendar Committee put in 5 professional development days for our staff. And so this waiver would allow us to recuperate up to 2,100 minutes for those professional development days. So I'm asking for board approval for the submission of the professional development waiver to TEA.
Would you have any questions? Dr. Groman? Any question?
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Next one, we have submission of a class size waiver to Texas Education Agency. Again, Mr. Darwin.
Good afternoon again. As you all know, when we talk about elementary class sizes, we have to look at a class size ratio of 22 students to 1 teacher. Well, we have a number of classes at BQJ right now that are over that. We have 1 third grade bilingual class which has 23 students in it. We have 1 fourth grade class that has 27 students in it, and 3 fourth grade classes that have 26 students in it. So what we're doing, we can apply to the board to allow us, or excuse me, to TEA to allow us out of that. So I'm asking the board to approve the submission of class size waiver.
Okay. If there's a possibility that in the future, the number of students increase again, we have to do it again.
Yes, sir, we're hoping that's not, and we're hoping that we'll be able to look at different ways to reduce the class size in the meantime.
Okay.
But we're over that at this point.
Thank you.
President Neerman and Board, this is not to communicate and make sure that the public knows and our teachers know. We're not seeking this waiver to make this a permanent situation. It's currently, right now, our class sizes are where they are, and we cannot proceed a day forward without making sure that the Texas Education Agency knows that we know, and the board has been communicated that that's where we're at. Our goal is to continue to find highly qualified teachers to reduce the sizes of the classroom. So that continues to be our priority. Even though we see this is not the goal to maintain these classrooms at this size.
Thank you, sir.
I think it's commendable, maybe we're just relieved, that BQJ is the only one suffering from this. I was concerned about Regay, but they look to be fine, so we could probably work this out with BQJ.
Actually, this is less than I've seen in the last 6 years. So we regret that it's this way, but we're doing better than many schools because it's a teacher problem, and that changes our ratio. And so basically what we can say is we've done a real good job everywhere else, and we'll clean this up next year. And so I think that's another good job.
Okay. Now we move to campus improvement plan, presenter Dr. Hill and Dr. Welsh.
Thank you, President Nerman, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Trujillo. So this is an annual approval process. Last month, you guys approved the district goals and performance objectives of the district improvement plan. This month, we're bringing forward the campus improvement plans. As you look through them, you probably noticed that you saw some of the same goals as the district, and so that's something that we asked them to do. However, some of the campuses did elect to add in their own additional goals. I'll let Dr. Welch speak to that since they're on the elementary campus. If you see some student performance goals, those it's just based on the raw data that we have at this juncture. It's not validated data as of yet, but it was raw data. And you'll also, whether it's the district improvement plan or the campus improvement plans, those are evaluated by the campus and the district improvement committees on a regular basis. Typically, it's quarterly, and they go through each individual, not only performance objective, but the strategies that they're going to use to achieve those performance objectives. So we'll entertain any questions that you guys may have.
I don't have any questions. Do you have?
Ms. App, do you have anything?
No.
Okay, I read all this. If the principals have to make that, I'm going to read it, at least this time.
Of course.
And we have great principals in our school district.
Agreed.
And they covered a lot of bases. But the thing about it is, it's about the students, number one, and number two, it's about the teachers. We're going to make sure they have what they need so they can teach. We're going to provide the learning environment and the materials. Not every school district does that. Okay, so that's really good. So when I'm looking at all these things, I'm going like, well, look, there's something different here. They have the psychomotor domain. Gosh, I go back to way back when I was in training. And so there's 3 schools particularly that I remember. There was Regay, and Fredonia, early childhood, and TJR. They said, we're going to make sure that the children 100% get physical activity. And I go, well, 100%? Yeah, but they're not narrowing down how they can get the activity, but they will get activity. That's wonderful. So they're looking at a lot of things. The other thing that stood out to me, we talked about ingenuity and training, and at Chumley Academy, that's one of the things. I'm going to be sure all my teachers know how to use ingenuity. What a wonderful goal.
Absolutely.
Well, there's a lot of other good goals, and we're going to reach those goals because we have great principals, great teachers, and students that are improving every day. Oh, that's the other thing. They improve every day because we set attendance standards. We want them to come, and we also want their parents to be involved. So they're just scattered out looking at everything to make things better for each student in our school district and our teachers.
We do this every year, and it's wonderful, because if you sit down and make a goal, then you're more likely to reach it. But, and I'm sure that it's posted on our website,
The plans?
the plan.
Should be, yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sure it is. But it would save the public a lot of time if you could just say where they could find it.
Sure.
Okay.
So if you'll go to the NAC ISD website,
Uh-huh.
I believe you'll go under the menu icon, which is in the upper right-hand corner, and then there is a section, I believe it's probably midway in the column, and it's called Required Postings.
Ooh, okay.
And then that's where we have all of our documents that are required.
Okay, that's good to
here
know,
for the
because
state.
I probably would have gone under parents or curriculum or something, and then I may have gotten around to this.
that
So
correct?
under required posting.
Yes, ma'am.
And then parents can read this for themselves about what their child's campus has set as this year's goal.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you for the question.
Dr. Hill, Dr. Welsh, am I correct that it's not a principal's writing, rather the campus council's writing?
Correct. Yes, sir. So typically, like at the district level, usually annually in May, there is a large number of campus district as well as community members. We have some teachers on there. We call it our district advisory council. And so they meet for a day-long process. And the state tells us, I think there's 9 different, 9, 7, 8 components that we have to look at, and so we're divided by committee. So yes, sir, what we do is we look at the strengths and weaknesses, we look at data, both quantitative as well as qualitative data, and then we look at last year's plan. Did we make progress on the goals? Is that a goal that needs to be continued? Did we make progress on the strategies? Do we need to selectively abandon it? Do we need to continue? Do we need to increase its intensity perhaps? So yes, sir. And then that process is done in May, and then the campuses usually do theirs either at the end of May or sometime over the summer. So to your point, it is a committee decision. Now, I would be remiss to say that there's probably one person that ends up scribing it into the computer.
And one person types it.
Probably, yes, sir.
I just want to make sure that publics know that's not principal dictates.
No, sir. And then the quarterly evaluation is also done by typically that same committee that gets
Incidentally, I
together.
was a member of some of those committees when I was there.
Yeah, you're familiar with the process.
President Neermont and Board, just to make sure that the community knows, the last time that this district addressed its strategic plan was in 2012. 2012. So in late October, this board will come together, and we will start addressing and looking at and evaluating the strategic plan. Need to know that the campus improvement plan that we design needs to stem from the priorities of this board. And the priorities of this board are established by our community, and the input and the things that we deem to be the paramount for the needs of our students. Once we set that in motion, and we do that throughout the year, because last time we did it in 2012, we want to make sure that we update so our staff know exactly, with clear, concise expectations, what they're charged to do. And with that, we go down to the district committee, and then it will trickle into our campus committee, and then the teachers will know clearly what is it, and be one common voice, one common expectation from this board down. So just for the community to know, our board workshop in October will include these fine folks in this room that deal with curriculum and instruction, and as well as the trainers that will be in here beginning the facilitation of the conversation with the board to arrive with what are those preliminary items that we want to make sure we're charged with. So to kind of backtrack, we have the campus improvement plans that we have in motion, but know that we're going to be looking at these priorities and reevaluating them in the short future, in the near future. And it'll begin with the school board. And we're excited about that venue and that adventure that we will be able to have beginning in October workshop. So I just wanted to make sure the community knew that we are going to be undertaking something that hasn't been done in some time.
Long overdue.
Okay? Any more comments? Next, federally funded vendors. Presenter again, Dr. Hill and Dr. Welsh.
Thank you, President Neermond. This is typically a quarterly approval process. You'll notice that on page, I believe it's on page, 148, you'll see the list. It's going to be an ongoing list, but we've added a column this month to denote specifically which ones you guys are approving and when they've been listed on this document. So for example, you'll notice that the last time we brought it to you was probably in July. And then, or it could have even been last month, and then you're looking at the ones that have the date of 9/21 of 2023. And just because they are on this list and you're approving them does not mean that we are going to partner with them, but this is part of our process with EDGAR federal regulations, that these vendors have to submit what we call a request for proposal, or RFP, and then these are evaluated by a committee and submitted for your approval. And Ms. Barbrick, are these typically posted online? I believe they are,
Yes,
aren't
they
they?
are. They are.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's under the business office department, under purchasing, and then under RFP, if the community is interested, which vendors have been approved.
Now we have discussion action agendas. We have 4 items for discussion agendas portion this meeting. One is consideration of a cash, correct me, deficiency,
Defeasance.
I looked at a dictionary, I could not find that word. I finally went through the law dictionary, and I found what it says. But again, reading that thing, I have to be an attorney to read it and interpret it. So go ahead.
Well, believe it or not, we did get the wording from an attorney. So this resolution is The board is, the administration is recommending that the board approve this resolution authorizing the defeasance and redemption of a portion of the district's outstanding unlimited tax bonds and approving an escrow agreement and all other instruments and procedures related thereto. So we're bringing to you the increase in our tax rate so that we can raise extra funds to pay off a portion of our debt, which in the long term will save us money. But we do have to, in order to increase our tax rate to more than what is actually needed normally, we have to bring a resolution to you.
Okay. Anyone, any question?
Can we just move this to consent, or does it have to be read?
We're not making a decision at this time, are we?
To move it to consent, you can make that decision here, but we're not voting on anything.
Yes.
Well, we could move it to consent unless you think those absent would have questions about it, but we've discussed this before.
Mhm, yes.
Yeah.
And they could pull it if they need to.
Okay.
And they can pull it if they want.
Okay, so
Oh, that's right.
we move it to consent agenda.
Yeah, let's move it to consent.
Good job.
Okay. Next item is adoption of tax rate for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. Again, Ms. Lisa Barbrick.
So this is our annual time to adopt a tax rate, and reminding you again, TEA now determines our maintenance and operations tax rate, so we have to wait on them every year to calculate that rather than us calculating it. And also, several years ago with House Bill 3, began a process of reducing our tax rate. And so this year, our maintenance and operations tax rate has been reduced down to 75.97 cents. And then we are recommending the 38 cents for debt service for a total of 1.1397 cents. And even with this increase in our debt service, we are lower than we were last year in our tax rate.
Do I recall when a gentleman came and talked to us about tax rate, gave us two options, 129, 138?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are going with the 38 cents so that we can pay debt off early.
And was that, he advised us to go 38 or?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Actually, President Neerman, there's many instances where districts are going even higher. But what we're doing is we're staying true to the commitment of the community. When this board made a decision to go after the bond, we would say we would not go above this value. When Mr. Fraley was here, that was the direction that we were taking. We're honoring that by not going above that percent, even though some districts, they're choosing to go even higher. We're not going to go higher with this. Matter of fact, our taxpayers are going to see a reduction in what they're doing, but we're not going to go above what was promised to our taxpayers here in the community.
Not only are we reducing our tax rate, but it will be going for voter approval to increase the homestead exemption, which will, for our homeowners, will save them even more money on their taxes.
Folks, you want to put that on a consent agenda as well? Ms. Anderson? Okay. Next is consideration of a placement of a memorial plaque honoring E.J. Campbell at the E.J. Campbell District Support Center Annex. Dr. Trujillo?
President Neerman and Board, this is pretty exciting information. The community itself is embracing the work of E.J. Campbell and recognizing it through other ways that I will let the city and other folks in the community celebrate. But for us, we had a simple request that when attachment was presented by Ms. Helena Abdullah regarding a request to place a plaque. She's provided a diagram for review honoring E.J. Campbell at NISD's E.J. Campbell District Support Center, which is this facility itself. This will be one of 7 signs that we placed on Shawnee Street recognizing prominent citizens. We are not doing anything with 7 signs. We're only looking at one particular sign. If the board will allow me, I'll read the letter that was submitted by this individual to the superintendent and board members, NISD, from Ms. Helena Patton Adula and friends of the E.J. Campbell Alumni Association. The reason, plaque in dedication of Mr. Edward J. Campbell. The letter reads, "Dear friends, I am a volunteer in a band born in Nacogdoches and concerned citizen. I've watched many changes take place in the immediate community and its neighborhood. We seem to have lost the vitality and the closeness of the worst of all, our memories of the people who blazed the trails before us. A friend of mine, Mr. Archie Renson, and I are trying to change this. The Shawnee area used to be the hub of the community. We remember those times and we want future generations to be at least aware of these heroes. The Nacogdoches Colored School was started around 1905, possibly earlier. One of the first and foremost educators was Mr. Edward J. Campbell and his wife, Mrs. Mary Kennedy Campbell. He was an innovator and a trendsetter. Education was his life and he made sure everyone knew it. He expected excellence in all phases of school and character. We are wanting to place a plaque in the rear of the sign, the brick structure at 420 South Shawnee, in his memory. It will be white with a little information about him." And she references to see the attachment. "The placement and the cost are donated. No maintenance is needed or security. It will be the same consistency as a stop and speed sign, limit sign. This, if given permission, will be one of 7 signs placed on Shawnee for prominent citizens that lived, worked, and contributed so much to my generation. My kindness regards and hopeful anticipation to all. Ms. Helena P. Abdullah." Very heartwarming request with regards to this particular building and the sign. This is the recommendation that this individual's doing. I see no reason why we could not provide her the opportunity, or this group the opportunity to do this, especially as they're going to be recognizing a number of citizens up and down this road here. So with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Dr. Trujillo, do we have to get permission from city to where exactly put that so it would not interfere with the traffic signs or things of that nature?
No, sir, it's actually going to sit on a structure that's already on the property. You'll have to park to walk up to it to actually read it, so it's not going to be something that would distract our citizens as they're coming in, so.
Okay. Is there any stipulation, just in case there's something happened to this building in the future for whatever reason, this sign has to be replaced, put another place? In other words, has to be fixed?
I can't speak for the future, but I can tell you as superintendent of Nacogdoches ISD, I will never do anything with E.J. Campbell because E.J. Campbell is a staple to this community and needs to be honored and provided. So I hesitate to speak for the future beyond my administration. I can only tell you, as far as I'm a superintendent, I see tremendous value in this building and the history it brings to this community, and I would celebrate the fact that we can honor an individual that preceded myself in building in this building. So.
Well, I totally agree with that. However, my question was, in case something happened, we have to take it from place A to place at B. Am I making sense?
Well, yeah, and the only thing I can equate to this is the Nacogdoches, what is it, the fort, okay? That's at the SFA?
Oh, Stone Fort.
Stone Fort,
Yeah.
okay, Old Stone Fort. If the community wanted to put that back in its original location, that means a bank would have to relocate. This is the location that Mr. E.J. Campbell was the administrator. He was here, he set the history. So I don't see it going anywhere, being anywhere. I don't see us being able to take that sign and place it somewhere that it would lose its value of the impact that it has. The city's going to recognize, or an entity out there is going to also recognize him up and down Mound Street. So there's a celebration that's there, and I'm excited that this group is seeking this building as the site that he served to place that out there. So to your question, Coach, I don't see it being moved. off this site.
I
don't
did
know,
not
so-
clear my questions.
Yeah.
My question is still on the same premise.
Yes.
However, from this corner to this corner be moved, if they have to do, in the future building, changing the,
I don't know how to
Okay.
answer that. I don't know, I don't anticipate anything that's going to cause it to
Right.
move. Matter of fact, I don't know exactly the placement of it, but if we ever redid a road or something that was here, a parking lot, depending on its placement, but we're going to work closely with them to make sure that we put it in a location that we don't disrupt.
I guess I was
So,
trying to say permanently be in place.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Am I clear? I like it to be on the same premise. But somewhere down the line, something happened, rearrange the buildings, maybe take it from one place.
We'll honor them, and it will be on Shawnee. And so we have frontage on Shawnee. They asked a particular place, if there's something happens, there's still more places
discuss
along
it,
Shawnee. It will require another motion, but we could do it.
Dr.
We
Groman,
don't want to do it.
Dr. Groman, listen to my question.
I think
It
that
would
was,
be on the same premise.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, same premise. And the same street, Shawnee.
You too.
Okay.
Not the consent. Can we just,
That
Pardon?
moves to the consent
No,
agenda.
I
No,
would
you wanna
like for
talk
us
about
to not.
okay.
Just because I want to force Dr. Trujillo to read the letter again
okay.
Thursday night.
Okay,
More people will
yeah.
hear it, and I think it would just
Okay.
be beneficial.
No, I agree. That's
And I thank you very much for that opportunity. I embrace it.
Okay. Finally, consideration of nomination for candidates for the Nacogdoches County Central Appraisal District Board of Directors as representative for Nacogdoches ISD. I take nomination for those names. I will nominate Mr. Tyrell Roman as one candidate. And I believe currently Reverend Irvin is on the board, am I correct?
Reverend Irvin and
It's
I serve on it.
required that the president be on it.
Oh, so
on this
you get
committee.
to.
No, it's
It's
not.
not.
It's not required?
He's trying to
I
renominate.
want to be away from it. Miss Mindy, are
You
you,
just have to nominate. Right now, Reverend Irvin and I are both on that.
would you consider maintaining your status?
I will.
Okay, so, Dr. Groman,
What?
you're nominated?
Yeah, if my name is on this piece of paper right here, I see it.
Okay,
And
they need you over there.
I went to the end and I saw they got me.
Miss Winslow will remain.
I will be learning. That's
Okay.
good.
Very good.
Instead of you, it'll be,
I don't have to, but.
I know, I mean, but,
Yes,
so we'll give me, okay. All right.
Ms. Holly? Okay, very good. All right. Now, the board will now conduct an executive closed session to discuss the items posted on our agenda pursuant to the following provision of Texas Open Meeting Act and allowed by Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.129. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any actions the board wishes to take as the result of discussions in a closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in open session. It is now time 12:28,
40,
23,
40, 12:43.
12:43, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Okay?
When will we be back? Can we be back by 1:30?
What time do you think the
Oh,
speaker
yeah,
is back?
1:30.
Okay, 1:30.
No earlier than 1:30, or no later than the 1:30.
Yeah.
Okay? The board is now reconvening into open session. Time is 1:34. And at this time, I seek a motion for adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Not opposed, the same sign. Okay, board is
Good job.